Hey, Zim. I think it's just you and I right now, Zim. I just literally got on. I decided to go live. I was playing around with these different. I built a couple of different rear axles. I was up early, couldn't sleep. Was up by like 5, so I was out here playing around. But I'm gonna test these different rear end. These are all silly sponge. These are all ceramic super stock fusions. This one is in an opaque chassis, which does sit slightly, to me, slightly higher than the blue chassis. Some people think this opaque one handles better, but I don't know. We'll give it a few minutes, see if anybody else joins us. I haven't really, these are the cars I race with my club when we do super stock. I have 4 of them. Obviously, I can only race one, so I usually narrow it down to this is my by far my fastest car, and this is the only one I had with this hood system. The other 3 are N bells, like a Viper type N bell setup. But this hood system is a car, whether it has anything to do with the hood electrical compared to the N bell. This runs the fastest on the dyno. Pulling like a 470. Hey, ZSJ. So what I wanted to do, since I have a race coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm just going to kind of evaluate. When I ran this car at the last event, I had it too high, and one of my guys who's really one of our top drivers, he was impressed with how fast this car was, but he thought maybe putting a 23 tooth crown gear in would help me control it, give it a little better control. You lose a little top end, but the car is more drivable. So this orange gear is a 23 tooth. Otherwise, all these other gears are 22, all the gray gears. This is a 416 diameter tire. These 3 are all 418s. So these 3 here, and these are a little higher at like 420, 422. I was just going to run each car with these different rear ends, see which combination, at least on my track, worked best, and hopefully that'll be the case on the track I race on as well, or it's a good starting point. Sometimes you got to go up or down a tire size depending on the rails height at the track you're racing. Hey, Boo Oval. I did just I oiled the front and rear bushings on each chassis. I'm going to put them on the dyno, each one, and see where I stand on the dyno as a starting point. I'll put the same rear end in each chassis. We'll see which one runs the strongest. These are all Wizard armatures except for this one. This is a RPM armature. Like I said earlier, this is the hood electrical system. So it has the brushes coming in on the sides rather than up and down like an end bell. So you got horizontal versus vertical kind of timing difference there. So I think I'm going to start with, curious to see if the car being higher up off the track, the rear end being higher up, if it how much faster it is at all on the dyno. So I'm going to start with this one. Hopefully you can see that. So that's pulling like a 435. This is the same height, so this should be probably similar. Interesting. A little slower with this rear end for whatever reason with those tires. I'm also curious what the difference in downforce. So this is pulling like a 114 with these white tires. The tires are a little bit different stiffness too, from what I understand talking to people. So like a blue tire compared to a yellow tire. Don't really have a way of gauging that as far as if one feels stiffer than the other. Yeah, so this is about the same. 415. These are a little bit lower tire, so I would expect this number to go up a little bit. Yeah, so with the 418s, I'm pulling a 121 on the downforce. I would expect all three of these to be about the same downforce since they're all 418s. This one's a little lower, the blue tire. .417. Interesting that this one had higher downforce with this tire. I wonder if this is this might be a scotch smaller than, I think these were 416s actually, not 418s. Yeah. So, and this is supposed to be a 414. Yeah, so that definitely is the highest down. This is the lowest tire I have at 414, 416. The others are 416, 418, and then like 420, 422s. Let's see if this car slows down, being that much lower. Yeah, so the extra downforce is slowing this car down a little bit. So this was up in the 430s, I think. Oh, and another good comparison would be the different pinion gear. So let's take a look at it's interesting the car runs slower with these blue tires for some reason. Doesn't feel tight or anything like that, but compared to these tires. And then with a 23 tooth pinion gear. Definitely slower with the 23 tooth pinion gear, barely hitting a 4, which is expected. The more teeth in the crown gear. I said pinion gear. The more teeth, the less top end you have. So I'm just going to pick, I think I'm going to use this rear end setup in each car just to see on the dyno which car runs faster. Let's pull in like a 416. That's just a little above 4, so I'll go slowest to fast, slowest speed to faster speed on the right. .440, that's pretty quick. That has the RPM armature in it. And then this is usually my fastest car. Hey, Adam. They're all 7-tooth pinion gear. Hey, Jim. Yeah, this thing's 470. This car is a rocket. I raced this car in my last race, and it was I didn't have the right rear end in it. It was a little high, so it was kind of loose. I had a lot more D slots than I would have liked, but I'm gonna see how it runs with this 23 tooth gear. Yeah, so that brings it down from 470 to like a 440. Which is probably better for me. So yeah, these have always kind of been my top 2 cars. Curious to see. So this is with the really low rear end setup. This is how I was going to run this car, with this really low rear. Be kind of dragging the rails, but this car is powerful enough that even lowering it down, it's really not slowing it down much. Still 470s. Car will definitely get a little warmer. That's another thing you have to watch, is the lower you go, the more heat you're producing. So I'm gonna focus for now on my primary car. See how this thing looks on the setup block. I don't know if you guys can see that, if there's enough light or not, but this is a .012 rails, so pretty low rails, similar to my track. And there's just a little bit, if you look at that magnet, you could see it's a little bit lower in the front. These are Wizard Fusion chassis, and these are ceramic magnet cars. So this is a ceramic super stock. So both the traction magnets and the motor magnets are ceramic. They're not polymer. And the gearing is open in this class, so I could run a 21, 22, 23 tooth And you can run the silicone over sponge tires, which just about everybody does. You'd be at a disadvantage if you didn't. So if we look at the downforce, so I'm curious to run some laps with this car, pulling like a 418 with that rear end, and with a little bit lower. It's pulling a 425, 426. And you could see where that's really nice and level all the way across the board with that magnet. So, but it is really close to the rail, practically touching. So like on my track, I have some high spots. I have some upwards of 0.014. So this car would definitely be riding the rails at some of the spots on my track, which is not necessarily a problem. See how this rear end's pretty low as well. This is like the next size up. Yeah, so just a little bit more space. So I'll be curious to run these different rear ends in this car, and then try and pick my backup car. And I usually lend cars out as well, so like my number 3 and number 4 cars. Last race, I had this 414 rear end in this car, and I loaned this out, and the guy ended up coming in 4th place with this car. He beat me. It definitely sits a little bit higher than, so you could see how this opaque chassis, you can see the space, there's clearly space between the magnet and the rail. And these cars all have about the same front tire, probably 320s, or yeah, they're all probably 320s. But if I put this same rear end in this blue chassis, it just sits lower. Yeah, I'm just kind of. I have a couple of weeks till my next race. The next race is actually at Hardin Creek. It's at HC Slots. Terry's hosting a race for our club, so I'm going to try and make that one. It's about a 3-hour drive from me to Lakeland, but I'll get to go up against Terry. So. See how this. I just want to see which of these cars gives me, drives the best for me. It may not be this really fast one. Maybe that really fast one is going to cause me to de-slot more. So maybe going with my second chassis. So this sits with the same rear end, a little bit higher than that other chassis for whatever reason. So that's why they're all different. Even though they're the same chassis, the magnets sit in them a little bit different. They're just tiny variances. So. Yep, racing at Hardin Creek. We were supposed to race there back in October, but that damn hurricane hit, so Terry postponed the race. All right, I'm gonna move the camera over to the track, and we'll run some laps. These are all the different bodies that I had on these cars. probably going to run this body as my primary. Though I kind of like this blue one with the flames. It's a different shape. Though it's more of a wedge. These two bodies are actually the same. Actually, these three bodies are all the same. That might be an interesting test too. Try two different body styles, see if it makes a difference. I'll try these two bodies. Hopefully that angle works. Hey Google, make the garage lights white. Alright, so I'm going to run some laps with all these different rear ends. I'm going to start with the highest off the track, the 420, 422 setup. And then I'll also run that 23 tooth gear rear end, see how it does with that. I'm going to start with this blue body with the flames, and I'm going to race on the blue lane. Oh. 2.6 second lap so far. 2:10 lap. Whoa. .260 even. All right, so at 2.6. I'm going to swap out the rear end, go a little lower. And use the blue tire. All right, 2.60 with a 2.8 median lap after 10 laps. $2.59. Floated it. Car seems to not handle as well with these blue tires, even though it's a little bit lower. $2.56. So I definitely had faster lap times and median times. So I had a 2.56 with a 2.68 compared to a 2.80 on the median lap time. I'm going to go down to the lowest tire. Which is a little bit warm, not too bad. Hey, Jeremy. I got these setup blocks from Viper Scale Racing. They have them in different colors as far as the clear plastic. Hey, MX69. Yes, this definitely a different level compared to your Tycos and even your Super 7s. Even, well, Vipers are pretty close, but alright, let's see how this does. So 2.56 was my best lap time with a 2.68. But I'm certainly paying for it. Each one of these cars, just the chassis, is well over $100. You're talking like $115 a chassis. $2.43. And this thing is stuck like glue with this lower rear end. As long as my armature doesn't burn up. Yeah, I had several laps in the 2.4 second range, a median of 2.56. So my median time was better than my best lap time with those other rear end setups. Definitely, this is definitely a good combo. I'm going to put the 23 tooth gear in just to see how it goes, and then I'm going to change the body. I don't want to wear these tires. You only get a few races out of these silly sponge tires, and then the silicone kind of wears off. So I don't want to put too many laps on them. But let's see how the 23 tooth. I'm going to assume it's going to have slower times, but you never know. See how it handles too. So 2:43 was the best lap time I did.
Yellow flag.
Oops.
Go. Yellow flag. Go.
Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. All right, 23 tooth gear. Let's see what we can do. .50. It's smoother. It's not dragging as much. I can feel it. 2:40. Wow. So faster lap time, even with a higher ground gear. Question is, how much looser will the car run as far as handling? So that's fun. I'm gonna have to play around with that when I actually get to the track. So the 414 with 22 and the 416 with 23, both were very fast. So I'll be definitely playing around with those combinations on race day. See which one I like and see how the car handles. I'm not worried too much about speed because all these cars are very fast. I'm more concerned with keeping the darn car on the track. So I'm looking more for handling than I am speed at this point. All right, I'm going to put the different body type on. See if the body makes any difference. Oh, you picked up a Wizard Fusion Blue Oval? That's cool. Super stock kit and N-bell chassis. Alright, are you racing at a club? Or just for your house? Oh, that was a joke. Alright, see you, Blue Oval. And I'm not sure if he was joking or not, if he really did get a fusion. I think he said he was joking. I'm not overly crazy how the rail marks are on these pickup shoes. Their toe and heel, it's like the middle of the shoe is not. Might have to tweak these pickup shoes. Well, I'll probably put new shoes on for the race anyway. So. Let's see if this body makes any difference. So 240, wow, almost down in the 2.3s with that 23 tooth gear. That's pretty impressive. 255 median and a 2408 was with the 23 tooth. Oh, wrong controller. 239. The car's a little more noisy with this body, but seems to be handling better. Yeah, 239. So, not a huge difference. All right, I'm gonna run the same test. Car never got super hot, which is good. These cars don't normally run very, very hot considering how low they are and the performance of them. I'm gonna try the number 2 car with these same rear end setups and see what kind of times I get. I think this was the highest rear end. Yeah. So this is with the 420, kind of 420, 422 rear end. You go back to this blue body. See if we can get down into the 2.4s with this car. All right. Hi, Chris. All right, let's see what we can do with this other chassis with these same rear ends. I did it 245, so definitely has the speed. 245, 251. It's definitely a little loose. The 422, 420, 423. Yeah, floating. These are 418 tires. Two, 5, 6. This car is definitely more loose than the other one. Interesting. So this car, I got down into the 2.5s as well. No 2.4s yet. white tires, the car handles better than with these blue tires, even though they're the same height. So definitely have to make a mental note of that. I like how the car handles with these white tires. All right, now I'm going to go down to the lower. Whew, that's getting a little warm. All right, this is the lowest tires. These are the 416s, 414s, 416s. Yeah, definitely can go faster with the lower tires. I'm in the 2.4s already. Ow! Damn it. You gotta be careful with these silly sponge tires because you could take a chunk out of them pretty easy. And I only have the one pair of these at this size, so I don't want to mess them up. Definitely, the armature's definitely warmer the lower you go, so gotta keep that in mind. Hopefully my armature survives if I end up going with those really low tires, because the car definitely handles better. I'm going to run this 23 tooth gear rear end in here, see how the car runs. So again, down into the 2.4s. Yeah, this car is very fast as well. Not quite as fast as that other car, but you know, fractions of a second. Yeah, I don't like launching them onto the floor. That's not a good thing. Not a good thing for my $115 car. It's hard to, I'm trying to get the fastest lap, so I don't normally push the car that hard when I'm racing it, but for the sake of lap times, I get a little carried away. All right, let's see what we can do with this 23 tooth gear in this car. 250, close to 2.4, handling really well with this 23 tooth gear. I kind of like the way the car drives with this rear end setup. The other car as well, the faster car. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking out this rear end and the really low one with these red tires. We'll see which one I end up going with, but just for the heck of it, I'm going to try the other two chassis real quick. I know this this opaque chassis with the higher tires probably going to be pretty loose. Not going to handle as well. All right, let's see what this car can do. median of about 2.8. That's pretty good actually. This car's handling pretty well, considering how high up I have it. Let's take it down a little bit. That's why I say the dyno is definitely not everything. I mean, it's a good, starting point to see how your car's motor is running, but there's not a huge difference from like a 430, 440 to 470 when you actually put it on the track. So I try not to get hung up on the numbers on the dyno too much. Oh, let me clear these lap times. This car seemed to handle better with the higher rear end. 258 was the best I could do. So this car is a little bit slower than the other two. The other two cars were in the 2.4s and 2.3s. I'll run a couple of laps with this lowered. See if I can do better than a 258. 256, so that was 10 laps with a 259 median, so almost every lap was in the 2.5-ish range. Car definitely handled better, definitely a little bit hotter, I'll run a lap or two with my, this is the number 4 car. But you see all these cars, that they can all do a 2.5 second-ish lap, so it's not like any of them are slow. So depending on your driving skill, any one of these chassis would do well in a race. Ooh, that sounds like it's dragging. I might have a lower front end on this car. I'd have to look at it on the setup block, but it's definitely sounds like it's rubbing. It's definitely a lot more noisy than the other 3 chassis were. .258 with a 2.7 median. So yeah, this car is definitely a little bit behind the other three. Still not horrible, obviously. But.
Yellow flag.
Move you guys back over to the bench. Do a little final wrap up discussion here. How many laps? There's no. We race 3-minute heats. It's really up to you. You're driving and the car. I mean, top guys when we race these super stock cars, and these are on tracks bigger than my track. They're doing over 200 laps in a 4 3-minute heats. The guys that win are up over 200 laps. So they're doing over 50 laps in 3 minutes. The top guys. I might be in the 40 lap range in a 3-minute heat with these cars. I usually finish in the middle of the pack, maybe like 5th, 6th place. I had one 4th place finish in ceramic superstock. I think that was at Fast Eddie's actually. Can I tune the armature of a power wheelchair? Yeah, that could be dangerous. Need to get around the grocery store faster. That's funny. So, just to kind of wrap things up here, my number one car with the end belt, the hood system. This is definitely my fastest car. These two cars were pretty close to each other, but I give this car the edge. These are all running RPM stiff or tough pinion gears, all 7-tooth. I don't remember what pinion gear that is. Might be a Jag actually. And I think between this lowest rear end, although the car gets a little warmer with it, but the car definitely handles better. And also this 23-tooth gear, these tires I think were coming in at like a 418. Yeah, like a 418. A little loose on 420, but car definitely handled well with this 23-tooth gear. And I liked how all the cars ran with this rear end. So I'm definitely going to be trying that out. And then again, depending on the track and how high the rails are, I may have to, if the car is really dragging badly. Usually when I get to the track, I'll put a marker. I'll use my silver Sharpie and I'll put some marks on the magnets and run the cars, and you can see how much of the how much of the magic marker, the silver color, gets worn off. So You usually want to see just a little bit of it getting worn off, but you don't want the car to drag too much on the rails because then that's definitely going to slow it down and really overwork your armature. So, oh hey, Rich, you missed all the action. You're gonna have to go back and rewatch it because I'm about getting ready to sign off. Been on for almost an hour and I really got to go to the bathroom. Too much coffee this morning. I mean, my friend. So yeah, I think my go-to initial setup is going to be this chassis with the hood system and either one of those rear end setups, the 22 tooth with the lowest profile or the 23 tooth with a step up in tire size. These are like 418s and these are like 416s. You know. That all depends on the track conditions. So that could change. I could end up bumping it up even a little higher to like 420. Maybe like this rear end. I didn't like the way either of these blue tires. I don't know. These blue tires are a little bit narrower than the other ones. Seems to have a difference in the handling. Yeah, I think that's what it is. These blue tires seem a little bit thinner as far as how much tire is on the track. So I may do a similar live show next time I go on. I'll do the same thing with my Fusion Spec Racer cars. These are my 4 Spec Racer cars, and these are all they're similar. They have the same armature as my super stocks, but these are level 4 Palmer. So they have, you saw these ceramic cars were in like the 116, 120 range. This car is probably going to be closer to like 140. Yeah, almost 150. So you definitely get more downforce with the Palmer magnets than you do the ceramic magnets. This particular class, Spec Racer class, is locked in 723. It has to be 7-tooth pinion and 23-tooth crown. You can't change that. So I will probably do a similar video testing getting all these cars ready in the next couple of days or so, whenever no one else is on. I'm off through the new year, so I got some time to go on a little more and play around in the garage a little more before I go back to work. So, well, every car that I ordered from Steven at Rooster Racing came with these. So, like when all my Super 7s I got from him. So I got a number of these from Steven. But I think you can get these right on Amazon. My buddy ordered like 100 of them, so he gave me a bunch. I didn't actually source out and buy these myself. They were given to me. Yes, it is nice to be off. So, like I said, I'm going to get ready to sign off, but look for me over the next few days. Try and get back on as much as I can. Spend some time in the garage. We had fun. I almost went live last night, but Scott was on. But I had family over. We had people visiting. So a number of races broke out here with some first-time drivers. It was interesting. We had a lot of fun. We had enough people to do lane marshaling, and it was interesting. Unfortunately, it was spur of the moment. I didn't go live, and I didn't record any of it. But it was fun. We had a lot of fun. I still have family visiting. That my brother-in-law is in town. My both my daughters are here, so I'm definitely gonna try and get on more with the family, do some family racing. But other than that, I think we're gonna go see that Nosferatu movie that's out at 1 o'clock. So my wife and I are gonna go to the movies. We're gonna go get some lunch and then go to the movies. It's been raining here hard the last 2 days in South Florida, so. All right, guys, I am going to sign off and we'll be chatting with everybody soon. All right, guys, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.